again. Welcome here to the Kevin Allen Show. And today we're going to have one of our favorite guests from Connecticut. We're going to have him on in a moment. Before I introduce this hot dog of a guy, this guy that knows everything that's going on, not just in Connecticut, but across the country in the political climate. Of course, we're talking about somebody that's very special because this guy's been doing it for 20 plus years. Again, He's in the know. He knows everybody in the game that's doing something. He's a Twitter expert and more. But, it reminds me that we are actually coming about that same time, almost like in 2015, when we were starting to smell this 2016 campaign. And again, in 2020, right then when we were watching the people that actually were turning their back on Donald Trump then and saying, well, Trump was good for the first year, but I can't support him in the next time. And now we're getting ready for 2024 and what's going on across the country. We're about ready to see Donald Trump himself be indicted, perp walked, brought across the concourse to be exploited. For what purpose? For what reason? A lot of people are speculating this is nothing more than a Democratic ploy to destroy Donald Trump's chances. And others on the other side of the fence are saying this is exactly what Donald Trump needed to spark some interest in his campaign run.
News alert now, and we are learning that the Manhattan DA's office has asked for a meeting with law enforcement ahead of a potential Trump indictment. This is coming to Fox News from a source in the courts. The meeting, which was requested yesterday and has not been set yet, is to discuss logistics for sometime next week, which would mean that they are anticipating an indictment next week. The same source who's familiar with the planning said they will go over security preparations in and around the courthouse in Lower Manhattan. Secret Service will take the lead in what they will allow or will not allow. The source cautioned, mentioning, for instance, that the decision to handcuff the president, a former president, or not, they will set the tone and will escort him into the courtroom. There will be coordination between all of us, the source said, but we will defer to the Secret Service. The battle will be between Secret Service and DA Alvin Bragg. They will decide how and when he'll get into the building, and they are not going to leave him. The source believes that the former president will still have to be fingerprinted and processed like every other defendant. So this is a huge development if Alvin Bragg has decided to go ahead with a felony indictment of the former president. This was a charge that the federal officials refused to prosecute on or even really pursue. This was a misdemeanor in New York that Alvin Bragg has decided to elevate to a felony, while at the same time downgrading other felonies to misdemeanors. So we'll be watching this to see how it all unfolds, to get more information as it comes in.
And so we get to hear from Fox News what they're anticipating. Of course, that was another probably a day or two, so it's a little bit of a delay on there. But we are actually right now awaiting more information on what's going to be happening with Donald Trump. But let's go to our expert witness right here from Connecticut. He is an expert in many areas, from construction to politics. Joe Visconti has done it all, and he knows how to wear a hat really sharply. Joe, how you doing, my friend?
Pretty good. Great to be back on your show, Kevin.
Thank you so much.
What a time to live. What a time to be alive.
Well, I have these special glasses on, Joe. I want to tell you right now why I'm wearing these, because what do they say? Justice is blind? Because what I'm hearing right now, justice has got to be completely blind. What's your take on the current situation with Donald Trump and the pending arrest?
Well, these are biblical times, and this proves it more and more, that everything that's good and right is evil. Everything that is helpful is a hindrance as far as the left is concerned. Those on the right are too afraid to lose their status, to lose their position, their title, their money, and their ego. So they will not speak, and they're allowing it right across the Republican Party. Well, I can't say everyone, but you're seeing that occur. And this is happening for a variety of reasons. Number one is the left they want to feed their base. They need to feed them red meat. They're running out of anything that they could feed them with because Ukraine's blowing up. We may have nuclear war. Comer just came out and said that he's got, James Comer, he's got China payments to the Biden crime family. He's got another 11. The Feds are going to raise their rate Tuesday and Wednesday, which is going to make more bank instability and inflation. They can't keep a lid on it. They need to pull out their best, boogeyman, Donald Trump, and do something, because the left is waking up. And what that means is that they will stand down, they won't support Biden, and it's too far. But because
You
we're
know, it's interesting, Joe. You've been saying this, and I'm sorry I cut you off, but we haven't talked in a while. It's exciting to get back with you connected. But you've been predicting some of these things to play out this way for a long time. Have you not been talking about it?
I have. I made the front page at Hartford Current right after Thanksgiving, and I think my quote in there is something to the fact that they will indict him. He will be indicted. What are we going to do about it? The country won't stand for it, and I believe I won't. I won't ever participate, nor did I, in violence on January 6th. But I think January 6th will eventually be child's play to what's going to happen in a different way than I think we can understand or manifest. The anger that the general public is feeling by being betrayed over the COVID vaccines, over what Twitter has shown us, over the New York Post article that was censored, the Biden crime family, Hillary, everything. We've seen it all. Now, you can stay into a zone where you don't want to acknowledge it and not vote, but we must remember this: the greatest voter bloc in America and Connecticut is the unaffiliated voter. It has no party. That's the body. That's the largest
Where do
group.
you think that party is, Joe, right now? Do you think that party is in a place where they can be rallied to support the American dream? Because it looks like
By
that's the attempt.
by the time there's an election for the president, our country will be, I predict, 20 times in a worse position on every issue than you can think of, and it will awaken the public to not stay home. They can't stay home. They won't have a home. Between bank failures that are coming, that cannot prop it up more than they are, the printed money, the open borders, the drugs, all the children are on, all to 60% of the children in schools are on medications. The pandemic was nothing compared to what's happening across every level. And I hate to talk this like it sounds negative, but this was occurring. And so they can't keep a lid on it. They need more and more and more dictatorial persecution. They need emergencies. They're basically, I would say, the word I would say is they are crashing the economy intentionally.
Now we have a current president in the White House who has been forced time after time to answer questions about his inconsistency in his policies. In fact, you talked a little bit about what's it going to take in this country, and I just want to ask you, since this is one of the key components to what created the war on drugs in this country, Joe Biden was very vocal about it then, and of course, the same population he's trying to utilize now to whoop up against, this movement of American pride. Well, now he's actually contradicting what he originally said. I want to listen to this clip and get some comments from you.
You have a piece of crack cocaine, no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, $1/4 of $1. We passed a law through the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others, a law that says if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation, you get nothing other than 5 years in jail. Judge doesn't have a choice. Under our forfeiture statutes, the government can take everything you own. Everything from your car to your house, your bank account, not merely what they confiscate in terms of the dollars from the transaction that you've just got caught engaging in. They can take everything. I don't care why they become a sociopath. We have an obligation to cordon them off from the rest of society. They are in jail, away from my mother, your husband, our families. So I don't want to ask what made them do this. They must be taken off the street.
And there you go, Joe. So that is our current president, Joe Biden, talking about taking them off the street. Of course, it does not have anything to do with any white, crackhead addicted or drug addicted people in his family that don't seem to be held to the same standard. Your thoughts on what Joe Biden's administration is currently doing to this country based on those antics then and the current situation this administration has us in?
Well, the communists are winning. The administration, the establishment is going full-blown communism, and really, really, in a way that that word was used so many decades, but now it's here and it's normal. And everything that is what that we know about American freedom and liberties and all the things we talked about for years has becoming um, the boogeyman. It's becoming the thing that we have to fight against. So Biden can't even be a fall guy. He's not even a fall guy at the present time. The dictator of relativism, the dictator of the Stalins and the Hitlers and all that, they're here, but they have no faces. And this is what is scaring those that have a morality of what's right and wrong for everybody. I guess that's the best thing. What's right and wrong and good for everybody. That's American. That's really what American is, but people are afraid to speak. It's not going to get better. You'll lose your job. Human resources will call you up if you try to do anything. The intelligence community, the weaponization of our criminal justice system, it's not going to get better. That's our problem right now.
How's somebody get a Joe? How does someone with common sense, and you live in guys, if you don't know this, Joe lives in one of the more affluent communities in comparison to my community, that's for sure, in the Connecticut, right outside the capital city there, beautiful, quiet communities, picturesque, yet you're surrounded by some nutty people, some people that believe in their Prius cars as they drive around in their, their white liberalism and their Priuses, and they have the Ukraine flags and all the other flags waving, yet they don't wave their own flag. They're not patriotic, but yet you live amongst them. What are they thinking? These people must be these people must be these people must be seeing it. They have to see it, right, Joe? Are they actually starting to come to understand what's going on in this country?
They see it, but they're more loyal to their party than anything. It comes before God, before country, if there is a God, before right and wrong. It is party, party, party. This is why I mentioned the communism. It is the party, the Nazi party. It is the party first. And this is their religion. We've talked about this, and everyone has talked about this in the country. It's their religion, and their religion is climate change. Their religion is LGBTQ. Teach kindergartens all about sex toys, sex, anal sex, anything. Take this and make this the doctrines. This, I'm going to say something that hasn't been said before. Get ready. And you're going to use this on one of your sides. I'm going to give it to you to use. What the Democrat Party platform is, for thousands of years, has been immoral, evil, and criminal. Everything that they push now for thousands of years has been immoral, illegal, criminal, and this is what's next. Remember that. Think about the things that are on the books now for law.
When we have, though, you think about who we have is in leadership roles in our country, and we're going to get back into the Donald Trump issue because this is one that is obviously, to the point you're making, they will do anything they can to take down this kind of pressure. But you also have, look at this.
He's the smartest man I know. I mean, for the pure intellectual capacity. He's a grown man. He is the smartest man I know. I mean, for the pure intellectual capacity. Hey, pal, Dad. It's 8:15 on Wednesday night. If you get a chance, give me a call. Nothing urgent. Just want to talk to you. I thought the article, at least the thing online, it's going to be printed tomorrow in the Times, was good. I think it's clear. And anyway, if you get a chance, give me a call. I love you.
And so when Joe, you see that we play those videos, and I don't want to just pick on Biden and the Hunter Biden situation, but it is enough evidence now. And yet we see, and we're going to get into the comparison here, Donald Trump is the news of the day, but yet the same people making decisions are refusing their responsibility to look at these individuals, this crime family, the Bidens. Why? What do we do as Americans to make sure some justice is here?
Well, the left would tell you right now that it's going to take time. It took years to catch Trump, and if they wanted to catch Biden, it'll take years. But the real reality is these George Soros district attorneys have done this. This is why I brought up that word communism, which was beat like a dead horse for years, but it's true. It's communistic, it's one-sided. And so the district attorneys at the state level are taking this, they planned this for years. And it's the erosion of the justice system. And without objective, blind justice system, we've just seen the tip of the iceberg, which is why I've been predicting we're going to eventually see violence, something I don't condone, something I don't want to be involved with. But there's no other way out of this eventually in our country. As it collapses, it's going to come down. When things come down, they deteriorate. They can't prop it up with more printed money. They can't. China and Putin are meeting today. We've got a crisis that we made. Americans made this. The American establishment has done this to us. Not the United States we love, the American establishment. And they care nothing of our country. It's all money, greed, power. And the more emergencies that they can create, from financial collapse to COVID to whatever, the more power they have in the name of safety, in the name of goodwill, and the welfare of the general public. So they need more emergencies. They're creating them. So what happens, I suggest to everyone with Donald Trump, whatever happens tomorrow, next couple of days, realize that tells you that Jesus Christ lives. That tells you that we're in the biblical times. That tells you everything is proving to you, not because of Trump. It could have been any other guy with a different name, but it wouldn't matter. Someone like him with a different name that did what he did and does what he does, and has attorneys do everything. They've broken so many laws. The legal system. Cohen had tapes of him. They took the tapes and they let a Democrat and Republican listen to them. They went beyond a lawyer. So your lawyer no longer had confidentiality because he may have had a crime. They just had broken every rule, every policy, every standard that has for 1,000 years with the British Kingdom and American Commonwealth. And so we're in a position right now where I have to say this is so important. Forget about everything you know today. What the hell is the next thing the Democrats are going to push? What sick, evil, twisted thing that's criminal today that will be holy tomorrow? And what good thing, what good Sunday school thing that is here today will be outlawed as evil and hate? Because that's what they're labeling it all. It's hate. They don't like
it's interesting, Joe, because the hate is obviously being driven from, one side of this argument. And I will admit, listen, there's a lot of anxiety. You just touched on it. Violence probably looming. One of the things that I think the cooler heads are calling for, prevailing here, are, a lot of people want to rally. Mike Crispy, my friend from New Jersey, holding a big rally down there at the Trump headquarters, the clothing place, the merch place. And, there's a lot of energy that needs to be put out, but we do need to be cautious because they are looking to make examples of everyone.
And there's going to have people that infiltrate this. I think I told you years ago when we ran the Tea Parties in Connecticut, we were always working with the Capitol Police to make sure we knew who was in our crowd. Because the first thing that happens, it's called organizing one-on-one, is you're infiltrated. People start to pose as they're you. They cause a problem, and it reflects guilt by association, and it's too late then. So if you want to have a rally, do it peacefully. Make sure you have video cameras and make sure you have law enforcement notified somewhere to make a statement. But it's not really necessary. We all know the Mar-a-Lago. We all know what we've seen, and what's happening right now is that the general public is. I think they're full. They're full of the lies. And listen, this is all a play on our consciences. It really is. Everything that's happened, and I was there the last 10 years, is something that's forcing Americans, especially, to wake up, put down the TV remote, and look at the world. If you don't want to get involved, how long before it gets involved with you? It's coming for everyone.
Sure, as the door is knocking, and we know what's knocking is evil, and really not something that any of us wanted to experience. But unfortunately, as you've been saying for years, it's one of the issues that we have to deal with all the time, which is the consistency of this switching of our democracy. And you call democracy what it is. It hasn't looked very well democratic in a long time. It's been one-sided politics in this state.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
Now, there's a guy who can bring a house down. Now, listen, that was a little bit of a made up story, but the
Yeah,
video is appropriate, right? But
yeah.
the energy that guy brings compared to what we know is on the other side, that's how I can't understand this, Joe. How can they try to convince the American public that there's actually anyone wanting what is existing in America today when we know the crowds don't say that, the
Well, I'll
votes
answer.
don't
I'll
say that?
answer that. I'll answer that question with a different. I'll go sideways on you. You'll
Mhm,
remember that the Republicans, and we're Republican, or at least I am. I don't know where you are
mhm.
right now. We remember the Republicans for the last 20 years said, I'm fiscally conservative and I'm
Mhm,
socially liberal. Well, do
mhm.
you want your kindergarten, first grade, second, third grade becoming a transgender, learning about all types of deviant sex, which could be your choice as an adult? God bless
Yeah, but
America.
we don't have deviant sex,
Yeah,
in the White House. We don't have
yeah.
any of that
But
stuff.
the
We
point,
don't see any of that,
the
right? I
point,
mean, Bill Clinton paid Paula Jones $850,000 to go away, but I don't see a DA calling him in.
yeah, but the thing is, um, that standard for the Republicans, what are they going to say today? Are we fiscally conservative and socially liberal now,
Mhm.
Mr. and Mrs. Republican? Because it's the Republican Party that did this to us. I'm sorry. I got on my
That's
wall,
true.
Mr. Republican. But that don't mean they're not Republican.
Mhm.
Okay. And I said something to my friend the other day about one of my children. I said, you know what? We had a little beef on something. I said, she was raised better than that, but she wasn't better than that. All right. And this can go for anything. Although you try to do something, they're not better than that. So the Republicans can no longer stand on socially liberal anymore. The rhinos lost their platform. Now they're the problem. What are they going to do? Stay home? At least the Republicans won't stay home. They're not going to help. They're going to fund all the opposition. They'll fund everything wrong. And so our problem has always been our own party, that it refuses to stand for what's right. You
It's almost like you don't want parties anymore. You really want, people, but when you see things that are like, just misleading, the FBI, feds, and Antifa to dress up like Trump supporters and try to incite riots in 432. Now, this is coming. These are the traps out there that I think people have to be very cautious of, Joe. This is
yeah.
what I'm concerned about. I think there's a lot of energy right now that people are going to be looking for guidance. And I do hope, if anything, Donald Trump steps to a podium and says, calm down. I'm going to take this on. We're going to take it on together, and let's lead through it. We'll figure out who's going to run for president. Right
Well, look,
now,
they, they, they,
it's
they,
unite.
they impeached him twice for something that he didn't do, that Biden did.
Mhm,
Everything that they've done to him, somebody else has done. Everything he says comes true. New York Post, Hunter Biden, the laptop from hell, everything.
mhm.
Karmically, I call it karmically. Every time they hit this guy, they get, I can't say that. I don't know what TV channels I'm on. They get slapped big
Yeah,
time. Karmically, it comes out
yeah,
of the blue, and we all go, "Whoa!"
right.
Trump said that, and they did this to him, and they did it. They did this to him, and they did it. And everyone knows that, but not everyone will vote and support what's right. This is so important. They are willful. It's the will of the flesh. It's willfulness. I want what I want. Something important here. This is the times we're living in. I want to say this quickly. It's a little religious and spiritual, but it really makes sense for politics. The most dangerous time and the most dangerous things that can happen to the world in our time, according to Dr. Rudolf Steiner, is this: the love of evil. And this is what the Democrats are doing, not only Democrats, but the hard left. What we consider evil, they love the love of evil. It's the greatest trap in the world. And so we have to pray for our brothers on the left, but we have to unite ourselves. And since religions are gone, there's no religions. Our intelligence communities are shot. Wall Street totally corrupt. Academia is totally in the tank with Wall Street. Everything we look at, big pharma, everything is corrupted. And so, what do you do right now when everything is corrupted? Every man is an island right now, and we have to stand strong. I disregard anything that happens this week, laugh at it, and change his channel and wait for the next news cycle. That's what I would do. We've already done that protesting. As far as I'm concerned, it's expected. But I would ask the general public, and I would ask every Republican and Democrat, what is the next sick, twisted thing that the Democrats are going to push for a movement that today is evil or immoral or not helpful, that they're going to want to push as a civil right? Because this is what they do, and listen, there's not much left they can go. Bestiality, kitty porn. I mean, how far in the pit? How many more steps in the pit are there left before you hit cannibalism?
Mhm.
This is here, this Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm not judging it. I'm not here to be a judge of it. I'm here to say, where are we going?
Mhm.
Because it's a house that's built on sand. It can't stand because there are no helpful principles. And the policies that are being made in our country have the appearance that they're helpful. And this is the great evil. They have the appearance and they would get people to come along. Well, it sounds good. It's helpful. We all get along. Well, how did that socially liberal world that we all get along will turn out for us? They now got our kids and they're turning them not even gay or something, totally who knows what. Perversion that just came up on Twitter. The sex toys in Connecticut. Colleen Mary put it up. The sex toys in the education are going to be taught to grade school kids
Right.
about sex toys.
It's we've lost our marbles here in not just this country but the world. Joe Visconti, people can go check you out at what is it, Big Joe yet? Have you been renamed as
No,
Big
it's
Joe?
Joe Visconti at Joe Visconti on Twitter. Find me there. You get links everywhere else, or Facebook. You'll see me doing God knows what. But yeah, I'm glad you're doing what you're doing because you're really a good voice. I'm glad you're reorganizing a little differently because it's time to what we mentioned earlier. My big motto is take something, beat a dead horse to kingdom come.
There it
I
is.
got to go.
There you
God
go.
bless
Thanks so
you,
much,
man.
Joe. Appreciate you very much. Joe Visconti right there. We're going to wrap it up with Mark right at the end. Mark, what do you think, my friend? We had a good little talk with Joe Visconti. We got about 3 minutes before we close.
Yes, just wanted to wrap up with Joe did predict this. It was in the Hartford Current. We talked about this back in November of 2022. Also, what I find very strange is the statute of limitations on this hush money to Stormy Daniels by a convicted lawyer who gets all this trouble is actually almost up. I believe it's only less than a year.
Yeah.
Someone fact checked that. But why are they doing it now? Why now? It's to change the news cycle. Everything is going to blah for our president. What they're doing, they have nothing to stand on. So let's make Trump the big bad guy. We're gonna indict him for this.
There it is.
And what Joe was also saying is it's the boomerang.
Mhm.
That's the word I think he was looking for. Is everything they throw at Trump misses him and comes back and knocks him in the head.
True story there. It looks
What
like
does
he
that
gets,
tell you? You
yeah,
might
look,
not like him. He's brash, the way he talks, he could be the biggest jerks,
yeah.
but he cared about America and his policies worked.
The only
And
thing on
another
that, Mark, the only thing on that, Mark, is the system that protects him is the very system that actually goes after him, right? Because each time he's able to prove his innocence by the very system that reluctant to believe or give this guy a pass. They keep attacking, but they keep losing each time. We don't keep losing because we have you. Mark, we're going to end this on a bang here. What can people expect? You got 30 seconds from the show going forward.
bigger and better things. I'm working on some real stuff that's going to take a couple weeks, but I'm busting my hump for everybody. Stick with us, please. Go to our YouTube Rumble channel, Connecticut Cowboy, the Kevin Allen Show. It's on the ticker at the bottom. Please like, subscribe, share. You got an email on a story? It's producer TKAS at outlook.com. Send us an email. We'll get back to you.
There you go. Thanks. Good show again. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Joe Visconti, he lays it down every time, and he always delivers gold. See you tomorrow.